Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk about the word renewing. In Numbers 29, this week's Torah portion reading and study of the week, it's all about God giving Moses instructions of sacrifices for specific days, sacrifice for the Shabbat, sacrifice for the first day of the new month, and then at the specific feast, and then specifically at Rosh Hashanah, which is the new year. And if we look at why it's a sacrificing a weekly thing, it's a monthly thing, it's every 3 months, and then specifically the head of the year, which is the new year at Rosh Hashanah. Why does the Lord have a timeline like this? Why does He instruct us? There's always a deeper meaning. It's not just for us to be in a routine and to teach us discipline. It's to teach us that every year, as we go through these cycles, every year, every month, every week, our knowledge of Him and our relationship with Him should be at a higher level. And once you are at a higher level, you have better understanding. So you look differently at things today than you did last year, because you have obtained new knowledge, you have obtained new insight, you have obtained you've learned a few lessons and of things that you should do and should not do. So this Shabbat, we actually need to just be still and meditate on what have we learned up to now. In Israel, they are already preparing their hearts towards the Feast of Tabernacles, although it's now the beginning of August, but the preparation is already there. We prepare in a lot of things. When you plant or sow, you prepare at least 3 months ahead. You plow the ground, you prepare the ground, you work in manure and all these things that's necessary for the plants to grow. So the preparation is extremely important to make things grow, to make things flourish, because you have your harvest insight. You don't look at the ground and that is your vision. No, you look at the ground, but you see the harvest. And the way that you look at your harvest is also what you will put into the ground in proportion to that. If I'm looking at 1 million trees bearing massive size apples, I need to think in the same proportion. If I look at the land, I can't have 1 hectare of land and then expect to have 1 million apples. There's a proportion. So if I want 1 million apples, then I need to work out how many trees do I need to have, how much does each and every tree produce, and then I work it back towards, okay, this is the amount of land that I need, and then this is what I need to work the land, this is the labor that I need, this is everything that is necessary for that. As the word teaches us, when you build a house, consider the cost, that you are able to finish it. That means don't look at the now, look at the end result, the cost, because usually when you start a project, you are so excited. So you have sort of an idea of what you want, but are you able to fulfill that vision without stopping halfway and saying, oh, well, I can't do it anymore, or I don't know how to do it, and this is not a question of faith. This is a question of vision, knowledge, and wisdom. God tells us that we have to have a vision, we have to write it down, we have to make it plain on tablets, and then we have to run as we read it. So we have to go for it, we have to pray for it, we have to fight for it. That is our vision. But a lot of times we forget that we also need knowledge to be able to obtain that vision. And how much are we willing to to give or to pay, if I can say it that way, and I'm not talking about finances now. How much am I willing to pay for knowledge? How much time am I prepared to set aside so that I can gain that knowledge? And then I also need to give time to test out my knowledge and be prepared to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and move forward. And then I need to put in the time for prayer and intercession and warring and fighting to have my vision. So there's a lot of things involved in a year's time. You need to set out goals and say, in a year's time I would like to achieve this. If it's God's will, if it's His will for me, always make sure it's His will. And then there's a bit of work to do. After that, you still need to apply the principle of now. Write it down, make it plain. What do you need? There's a lot of steps. How are you going to do it? Who's going to help you? There's certain principles that we need to apply. And then there's principles inside your soul that you don't have the ability, or you have boundaries, set mindsets in a specific area that needs to change. And that might stop your vision. That might be the problems that constantly arise and prevent you from moving forward towards that vision. So often the Lord gives you a vision, but you feel you're never getting there. You feel like you are restricted. And then we think it's Satan. Satan is stealing. And then we think, no, God doesn't want us to have it anymore. Or God is now, we are so disobedient. He's now, he sort of keeps it from us. But we neglect to look inside to see how much of what's going wrong in my life is my fault. It's because I do not gain the knowledge, gain the necessary connections, and with people that do have knowledge. God is all-knowing, God is awesome, God is, but we cannot. God did not make us to be individuals on islands, giving an individual a vision and say, okay, now I'm gonna empower you, you will get that, you will get all of that. No. He has placed us in a specific place, surrounded by specific people, so that group of people will have the same vision, and they will have different gifts according to their abilities. And the more you grow towards that vision, the more God will add people to that vision to grow the vision. That's why we cannot be stagnant. That's why we have to grow. We have to grow in knowledge. We have to grow in ability. We have to grow in maturity. We have to grow spiritually. We have to enlarge our boundaries mentally. And we have to always keep our eyes on God, because God is the one that moves the boundaries. God is the one that releases us when we are in bondage. God is the one that opens the lock once we identify it and say, Lord, I'm in captivity in this area of my life. Then He's the one that breaks that lock, breaks the bars, and set us free. But we have to acknowledge. We are the one to say, Lord, in this area, I am so dependent upon you. Lord, in this area, I am just not getting it right. Please help me. And then connect with those around you that can help you, because God places people in our lives so that we can be a comfort to each other, that we can help each other, so that we can grow together. He didn't make just Adam. He made an Adam and an Eve. And He created them so that they will have a family. And that family will have family. So He had a vision in mind of an earth with many people, of mankind, who would have relationship with Him. Together, corporate, different individuals, different giftings. And that all, that is what pleases Him. we as one individual cannot fulfill God's desire. We need. It's like being married and not having children. A woman has it's designed inside of her to desire children. So you can be happily married and then you have this desire to have a child. So that's that fulfillment that you need. So once you have the child, you want a second one. So you desire a family, and you will always be connected to a family and to other people. So, but who placed that desire in us? We are made in the image of God. So God also has that desire. He also has that desire to have more than one child, to have that relationship with us. And each and every one of us has a specific place which gives Him fulfillment when we enter that place of relationship. So let us start preparing our hearts and look at these sacrifices that we do on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, and start by doing on this Shabbat. Just start by looking at our lifestyle, the patterns in our life, looking at the vision that God has placed before us, whether it be a family vision, ministry vision, whatever vision you have. And what are you doing about it? How plain is that vision? Is it in sight? Is it written on a board? Do you have specific goals? And do you identify the people connected to you to help you? Do you identify the purpose of your family and of your friends and your social circle? Do you realize that there is a spiritual connection more than a physical connection? Or do you waste your time socializing with wrong people? Do you waste your time working on wrong visions? Do you waste time doing idle things? These are the things that we need to look at and change. And every week we renew our decisions. Every week we step up a little bit and say, Lord, thank you for the knowledge that I have gained in this week so that I can make changes. And weekly, monthly, and yearly we make a new commitment unto God and say, Lord, this year is the beginning of a new phase in my life. So let us spend time together with the Lord in the Lord's presence today, and let us look at our hearts and change whatever needs to change. Let us renew ourselves according to the word of God. Shalom to you all.